everybody, it's Kira and welcome back to my channel. So today I have my October wrap-up for you guys, and October was a fantastic reading month. I don't know how November's gonna go because I have a bunch of tests and papers because we have Thanksgiving break off, and so all the professors are like, let's get everything in before Thanksgiving. But anyways, we're gonna talk about the books that I read this past month. It's quite a lot, so I'll just get into it. So the first book I finished in the month of October is Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. I was rereading this all throughout September, and then finished it in the first couple of days of October so that I could read Muse of Nightmares when it came out. So if you don't know what Strange the Dreamer is, it's best to not know very much about it. So basically there's this guy named Laszlo Strange, and he is obsessed with this lost city called Weep. And he gets the chance to go and find it. And that's all you need to know. It's so magical. The writing is just so amazing. It is the most beautiful writing I've ever read before. There is amazing characters that you will fall in love with. And it's just so beautiful and magical and so good. So I loved rereading this. It just made me so happy to read it. And yeah, so that was the first book that I finished. The next book that I finished is The Kingdom by Brian M. Lifton. This was the third in the Shavais trilogy. I have a full review. I have a spoilery and a non-spoiler review for the whole trilogy, so you can find that linked in the description below. I forgot that I actually finished this book in the month of October. It feels like it was forever ago. But yeah, this was the third book, so I can't really tell you anything about it, but the premise of the series is it is in a post-apocalyptic world, and we are it's 400 years after the apocalypse, and the two main characters, Anastasia and Teophil, end up finding part of a Bible. They find the Old Testament, and it ends up starting to change their world, and there's lots of adventure and danger and lots of stuff. It was decent. It wasn't my favorite, honestly. You can watch my review. Actually, my non-spoiler review is a lot more positive than my spoiler review. My spoiler review is a lot more ranty. Wasn't my favorite series, but I finished it, so that's what counts. And then I read An Absolutely Remarkable Thing by Hank Green and loved it. It was so good, guys. So this came out September 25th, but my pre-order didn't come in for a week, and so I wasn't able to read it until October, but I finished it in 2 or 3 days. It was so good. So if you don't know what this is about a girl named April May who is going home from work one day and finds this weird statue thing in the middle of the sidewalk. And so she calls her friend, and they make a funny YouTube video because she just thinks it's silly. And she posts it online and goes to bed. And when she wakes up, she finds out that this thing has gone viral because there are a bunch of other statues that have landed all over the world. And so she instantly becomes this public figure for these statues, which they start naming Carls. And it's just such a good book. It's a very introspective look at social media and fame and how we look at other people and how we see people who we deem as other or different. And it's just so good. You can tell that certain parts of it are Hank working through things that he's had to deal with too on instant fame and social media. And April uses Twitter quite a lot. That was one thing I super enjoyed about the book, is that because social media is such a big part of it, it talks a lot about it, and April uses it quite a lot. And so, but it never felt awkward or unnecessary. It was always very important to the story. And so I really enjoyed that aspect of the book, and it was just so good. I have a review for this one down below as well, so if you want to check that out, you can do that. But yeah, it was just so good. I encourage you guys to go read it. It's Hank's first book, but it was just so amazing. I then read a book that I don't know why I waited so long to read this book, because I got it for Christmas last year, and it's been sitting on my shelf staring at me for the longest time, and I finally read it. And that is The Hate U Give by Angie Thomas. Oh my goodness, guys. This was insane. It was so impactful, so heart-wrenching, so truthful. It was just so good. The only thing that I didn't like about it was the language. But I feel like did it very realistically. There was a lot of F words thrown around, but that's how teenagers and people talk, unfortunately. So I didn't think that it detracted from the book in any way. It was just so good and so impactful. And I got to go see the movie today. Finally, I got to go see the movie. And the movie is fantastic. It's a very good adaptation of the book, And I think that it makes things all the more real is seeing people enacting these things that happen in the book, which I know are super realistic to what a lot of people have to go through. And it was just so good. And I encourage you guys, go read this book, go watch the movie. It is such an important topic that we need to be talking about. And I feel like even though I'm very privileged in that I am a white woman, and so I am aware of that, and so I think we need to be uplifting voices like Angie Thomas, who is writing about these realistic things, these things that actually happen to people, and we need to just uplift them as much as we can. So it was just so good. Also, Angie Thomas has a cameo in the movie, and it was such a good cameo. Like, it was so cool. I knew that I'd heard that she had a good cameo, and so I was like waiting the entire movie for it to happen, and then it happened, and I was like, yes, that is perfect. It was so good. Oh yeah, it was great. Also, there are a couple booktubers that have that got to be extras, so I don't remember who all, but there are some booktubers who are also in this movie, which is pretty cool too. So yeah, oh my goodness, the writing is spectacular. The story is like very heart-wrenching and very moving, and you really get to care for the Carter family and like all of the people around Star, and it's just so good. So please go read this book. And then I finally got to Muse of Nightmares by Laini Taylor. Again, my pre-order for this book didn't come for like a week, so it came out on October 2nd, but I had to wait like a week or two. I think it was a week to actually read it. And I was almost done with Hate U Give, I think. So I think I finished that and then I read this. But like, oh, so good. Guys, this sequel is so amazing. I think I like Strange the Dreamer better, but only like this much better. This opened the world up in so many different ways that you totally would not expect. And it brings in a cool, like, almost sci-fi element to it, but like in a way that is very like realistic to the world. Like, it doesn't feel forced in any way. It's just so good. And like, it was very heart-wrenching. There were a lot of things that happened, and just, oh, guys, I love this book. Go read Strange the Dreamer so you can read Muse of Nightmares, because it was so good. And whew, still going, guys. So the next book that I read is Chance for Rain by Trisha Downing. This is a book that I was sent for review from the author, so thank you so much, Trisha, for sending it to me. I do have a review linked down below if you want to check it out. I didn't love this book, honestly. It's just not a book that I should have taken for review, because it is just not the book for me. It is about this woman named Rainey who is 32 and has had a lot of trouble with love. When she was in high school, she was in an accident. Her family was in a car accident, and so she is paralyzed from the waist down. And so she's trying online dating to find love. And it just wasn't my cup of tea. It wasn't awful, but I didn't love it, and it just wasn't for me, so oh well. But I did read it. I do have a review for it. If you want to check it out, if you want to read this book, go for it. It's not a terrible book, but like, it just wasn't for me. I really should have said no to Trisha, because I feel bad-mouthing her book, but it just wasn't for me. Hey guys, I'm really sorry about the change and everything, but I got actually interrupted when I was filming last night because of roommates going back and forth, and then I just didn't have time to film and whatever. But we're going to finish this off really quickly because I only have 2 more books to talk about. So the next book I read this month was Fellowship of the Ring by J.R.R. Tolkien. If you don't know, I am taking a Tolkien class this semester, and it's been really fun. Super enjoying it. But I have to reread the series. I haven't read the series since 8th grade when I read them for the first time, so it's been fun like rereading them. And then I'm also tracking the words hope and bravery or courage, which is what all these sticky notes are for. I'm like running out of sticky notes, you guys. It's a problem. But I have to write a paper on those words and how they are used at the end of the semester. But I'm really enjoying it, and I mean, this is just such a good story. I forget though how long it takes to even like get anything going though, because like the Council of Elrond is like almost 3/4 of the way through. Like, it takes forever to get going, to get really going in this book. So, but it's just such a good story, and I love Lord of the Rings. I love the movies, and so it's been fun to just reread the books and see what's different and just kind of remember my love for it. So yeah. And then the last book that I read in the month of October is Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie. This was lent to me by my friend Kat, so thank you so much, Kat, for letting me borrow your book. I read And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie this summer, and thought it was okay. I liked this one so much better. So this one is about a train that gets trapped on the tracks, and then somebody on the train is murdered. And so then this detective has to figure out who did it, and it's so good. And then I actually just finished watching the movie of Murder on the Orient Express, which was the main reason that I really wanted to read this, was because I wanted to see the movie, because there's a lot of people in the movie that I know, well, that like I enjoy as actors, and so it was a really good movie. They added a couple like action scenes to make it more enjoyable, I think. But in the end, I was very satisfied. It was a good adaptation. But yeah, it was a good book. Really enjoyable mystery. I'm finding that I'm enjoying mysteries, which is something that I never thought I would say. I hate scary things. So in my head, like, a mystery always means scary. Kind of like, this is really silly, but Scooby-Doo, kind of like, it's weird, scary things. But like, murder mysteries, I'm finding I don't mind nearly as much as I thought I did. So, you never know what's going to happen, guys. So yeah, I was able to read this and enjoyed it. Again, it was hard to keep track of people a little bit just because there were so many of them. There's like 10 or 15, I think there's 10 like passengers on the train, and so it's like hard to keep track of who's who, but it was really good. Another thing that I forgot to mention, when I saw The Hate U Give, it made me cry. Oh my goodness. I teared up so many times in that movie. Again, if you haven't seen it or read the book, please go do that. It's just so fabulous. Like, it's so important and so just heart-wrenching and emotional, but such an important story that needs to be told, and I really, really enjoyed it. So those are all the books that I read in the month of October. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Comment down below, let me know what you guys read in the month of October. This was like my best reading month in quite a long time, so I was very happy, and I'm hoping that November will go the same. So thank you again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!